USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar, zero patience for slow walkers, those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night, have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero here on The Tour Coach. Thanks for joining in and thanks for following along. It is my mission to bring you some of the best instructors, the players, mental coaches, fitness experts, everything you need to play better golf, all of the people I find fascinating that can give you information to help you in your pursuit as a teacher or as a player. It's all here on DewsweeperTV or wherever it is you get your podcast. Thanks for watching the Tour Coach podcast, and hopefully this helps you teach better, play better, and enjoy the game. All right, so joining me here, Masters Week, Thursday of Masters Week. One of my good friends, one of the great teachers in the game, somebody I'm fortunate enough to hang around, Kevin Kirk. Kevin, how you doing there, brother? I see you're in a car. I'm in the Atlanta airport. Wait, we're always going somewhere.
Yeah, I think we're on the move, Tony. That's kind of we're kind of these nomads that kind of wander around from place to place and try to make the world a better place. So yeah, I'm delighted to be with you, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Busy as usual, which is you and I talked before this. It's a good thing. You're going to be home the rest of Masters Week, which is nice. I always feel like if I didn't do a good enough job teaching this year to be there, at least I could go enjoy it because everybody's watching it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's watching the Masters. So it's an exciting week. But I just thought, I had you on last year and I thought, Wayne and I did one yesterday and it was about, what recreational golfers could learn from watching the Masters, which I think there's a lot people can learn from watching the best players in the world. You've had so much experience there and success with being with Patrick when he won and all of that goes with that. I think Augusta, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it's different than a lot of the other major golf courses. That's to me why you see a lot of the same people that have success there. And so I think it requires certain skill sets. What from your experience, what are the skill sets or what is it that when you look at the field and the people playing there at the Masters, what are the skill sets that you see that make players play well there?
Oh, I think you're right, Tony. I think, look at the people that played well there. They seem like they repeatedly play well. So once somebody figures the course out, it's like they're able to continue doing it and repeat that. So that leads me to kind of believe that there's probably a little riddle about that golf course that you need to understand what the course is asking you to do. And I think if you can take the time and slow down and not get caught up in all the circumstance and all the kind of the drama around the event and slow down and try to understand the golf course I think is pretty specific what it wants you to do. I think it's pretty liberal off the tee. It gives you some room to roam a little bit. It's not super demanding off the tee. But it's definitely a second shot golf course where you have to pay very close attention to your second shots and control not only the distance, but flights, curves, trajectories, spins. And so the golf course has pockets, the greens have pockets that you have to kind of play into. So I think, understanding how the, how the greens receive shots is really, really important. And then I think chipping the golf ball around that golf course is super important. I think it's understated, or people don't talk about it a lot, but I do think that chipping the ball on that golf course, you have to be a great chipper of the golf ball. Um, I think everybody can see the putting stuff is, you see putts there that you see no other place in the world. But these guys can kind of handle that type of, they're the best players in the world. They can handle the creativity, most of them to putt well there. But I do think that, the second shots and the chipping around that place seem like they carry a lot of weight. And then taking time to understand the golf course. I mean, there's a bunch of people that have had, access to Carl Jackson, and he obviously has been around the place enough. And there was a lot of winners that have been associated with him either directly or indirectly. When Patrick won that year, we went in there and turned the place upside down to try to understand it, and I think we did a pretty good job of decoding it. And I think Patrick will probably continue to kind of play well there because he understands the demands of the course. So to your point, it does require some study. It requires really good kind of second shots and probably really good chipping.
And I think he would, obviously Patrick's one of the best chippers around. Obviously, one of the keys to it. And I said that somebody was talking to me earlier. I said I really believe that people don't focus enough on how good a chipper you have to be. I'm trying to think of a person who would be a substandard chipper that's won there, and I really can't think of one. Can you?
No, I would agree with that. I think it's one of the things that the golf course demands, because if you miss a green, you have to have not only the touch, the precision to hit the shots, but the creativity to imagine, a shot, based on the slopes and how, because a lot of times the direct route to the hole is not a straight line. I mean, going back to the shot, the Tiger hole from behind the green at 16 that year, playing it up on that slope, there's a lot of that type of stuff that has to happen out there. So you have to understand the fall lines probably for those putts, and then try to kind of figure out how to move the ball onto the fall line. And then, you can't really look at the target. You just got to figure out how to get the ball on those fall lines, let the ball fall towards the hole.
And another thing, when you talk about turning the golf course upside down and kind of trying to find and decode it, what are the things that you do or that you did that helped you guys crack that code? I love what you said about like chippers and I started thinking like, the guys I've had that have played well there, like Smiley didn't obviously play well in the last round and let it get away from him. But, we did a lot of recon before that week. He went multiple times and he's a great chipper, right? And I thought that was a real key there. He was a great chipper of the golf ball, and he's always been very good at trying to figure out where to leave the golf ball. And I thought Andy, when he played there as an amateur, even though he was an amateur and he played with Tiger, made the cut, played good on the weekend, because he's really good at figuring out where to leave the golf ball if he's in the right spot. And then I go back to looking at a few years ago, I think it was the COVID year, when Bryson made the comment, he was hitting it so long, but he made the comment about it being par 68, right? Like that, you can't just overpower that golf course, because it is such a second shot and where you leave it. So bombing at 380 obviously gives you some advantages, but the ability to control your irons is such a big part.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, there's also different kind of positions in the fairway you have to play for different pins. I mean, I think number 3 is a good example of that. Or just depending on where the pin is, you have to think your way through. You almost have to play the hole backwards from, okay, where's the pin today, and where do I want to put the ball in the fairway to give myself a chance to get to that pin. Because it's not always just hit the golf ball as close to the green as possible. You really have to kind of think your way through it. And then also you have to consider kind of the different wind directions. I looked at the wind map this week, and it looks like they're going to play with the wind all the way around the clock this week. So they're going to have that each one of those holes has a different way it needs to be played, considering the pin and the wind direction. So it requires a fair amount of thought, and almost like building a matrix for it, where it's like, okay, on this pin, this is the tee shot, and then, okay, what's the wind going to do, and how do I get the ball into that position off the tee, so that I have the best chance with my second shot to be able to approach it in the right manner.
Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to help you make the most of your summer with Michelob Ultra, a superior light beer worth playing for. Play for it with the guys when you're competing to see who can sink more birdies on the golf course, because winning tastes even better with Ultra on the line. Play for Ultra. Fill your fridge with Michelob Ultra this summer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Becoming the most valuable sports franchise in the world doesn't happen without risk. A man who's willing to bet it all, and the players ready to make their own luck. America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, is the story of the 1990s Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones's impact on NFL history. Featuring interviews with iconic 90s players and more. Watch America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, August 19th, only on Netflix.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find
and
it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
I also think it requires a lot of patience, and I think, obviously you and Patrick, I think it requires the mental toughness to, like you said, know where the wind is, know where you got to put it, and to stick to that plan and not let the emotions make you get off track, right? Like if your plan is to not hit driver on 3, and you've bogeyed 1 and 2, you don't change just because you can drive it up there if it's not the right pin and the right wind, right? I mean, I think that's like a huge part of the weekend, and why some of the folks that have won because they're very patient.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Tony. It's just having an idea about how you're going to move having studied the golf course well enough to understand, okay, with this pin position, this is the way I have to kind of play it off the tee to give myself the best opportunity to get the ball in a position to be able to generate a score. The other thing about that's understated about that golf course, and you probably don't really appreciate it until you're out there. Sunday afternoon on the back nine is very noisy. Those roars are unnerving, and I don't get jumpy or nervous very often. Watched a lot of guys win tournaments that I've kind of been out there with, but on the back nine on Sunday, the amount of noise that gets generated around the golf course is unnerving. And the reason it's unnerving is because you don't really know what's going on. Nobody's got a cell phone. There's only a few scoreboards, so all of a sudden something happens, and you don't really know what's happened. You can kind of, based on the magnitude of the roar and kind of roughly this part of the golf course, you can start trying to imagine, but your brain starts kind of working a little bit overtime just based on all that noise and all the what it could potentially mean. So you have to be able to just kind of stay in the present, keep plugging along, playing your shots. When you get to a scoreboard, it's probably a good idea to kind of take a look up there and figure out what's going on, because you probably won't see another scoreboard for a couple, 2 or 3 holes. And so it's, it requires definitely a kind of a chess game on the back nine on Sunday. And like I said, the amount of noise that gets generated out there is unnerving. I've never experienced anything quite like it.
Yeah, I remember that too from the year with Smiley. And obviously he kind of, on Saturday, I remember as he shot the low round of the day, the roars through that back nine of stuff going on was crazy. I'd never heard anything like it. Very unnerving. And then on Sunday, being on the other side, watching Spieth kind of not play well and it get away from him. And then, the roars coming from the other players going down there through Amen Corner were like, you knew somebody was doing something. Yeah, but
since there's no scoreboards or phone, you don't know exactly who it is. So, so if you're in contention and you hear something down in, like say 16 green or 15 green or back in that corner or down at 12, or you start hearing noises kind of going on 13. You start hearing these noises going on back there. There's no scoreboards to help you discern what's happening. So it creates, it's kind of an interesting kind of a playground for your mind, that you have to really kind of pay attention to being able to acknowledge it, hear it, and then just continue to kind of plod along and do your thing.
As you look at the field this year, Justin Parsons and I did this the other night too. Since neither of us have a player in the field, who are you looking at that's been playing well? You say if you were looking at 4 or 5 guys that people should pay attention to, who are you looking at?
Yeah, I think you look at guys like Scotty Scheffler's obviously going to be kind of an obvious pick. Rory's been on a kind of a nice string of play, and it seems like he's been able to onboard some things this year about his golf game that he probably needed to address relative to his wedge game, his mental game, and some of the decision making that he's onboarded. So he seems like he's in good form. John Rahm around that place is always going to be a factor.
Yep.
Just in terms of he's kind of a really fun time of his life in terms of his career. I would say, those would be my top 3 picks. There's the next level of picks. There's obviously a bunch of really great players, but those guys have been in good form, and all those guys know their way around that place. So
I said the other day to 2 people that I think you get that if it was a regular tour event, these 2 guys obviously wouldn't be in the tour event because of the current state of golf. But you have to look at is the way Sergio has played, and he always plays good there.
Yep.
Right, and great chipper of the golf ball,
yep,
and a great use of imagination. And then the other one, I've watched him a bunch because of Andy, but Phil, he finished second a couple years ago over 50. He hits it far enough there. And there's very few people that, one, he has the confidence for sure. We know that. And he understands the whole patience and how to play that golf course. If I was picking top 10 people, then it's a smaller field. You have to look at those 2 guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sergio's, I've watched him play a fair amount the last couple of years, and it's incredible how good he hits it day to day. The guy is just a flusher. He hits it so solid.
Yeah.
And he's been a nice kind of run of play over the last probably 12 months. And, I like both those picks. I think that, some past champions there. Patrick could kind of sneak up and kind of jump back in that mix. He's been playing well over the last probably couple months. He's seemed to be in good form, having some nice finishes around the world. So, Bryson, could be a factor at that place. So, it's going to be, I love it when all the best players in the world get a chance to get together. That particular theater, that particular venue, it really is, there's so much history there, to create for the backdrop this stage that they play on. So I'm super excited. It looks like they're going to have a great week of weather. Last couple of years, I think last year the wind blew really hard, so it kind of messes them, kind of changes the complexity of the tournament. But this year, it looks like they've got some great weather. It's going to be dry, which is going to be great. So it allows them to kind of get that golf course right to the edge, starts playing a little fast and spicy. And when the golf course gets wet, it loses a little bit of its defense, but it should be it's shaping up to be a really good tournament, and I'm looking forward to watching them have a go. So.
And that's the thing. I think when you get the good weather there, it allows them to control the golf course.
Correct.
And dictate it, and they can change it from day to day.
Yep.
How they want.
Yep.
Which they're the masters of doing that. And so, Kev, awesome stuff. Always love having you sit in with me and hang out. We got to do this more, talk some golf swings and stuff. But appreciate you sitting in. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll hang out soon, buddy.